Hello, welcome to my first ever Sims 4 speed build! I've been streaming these over on Twitch. This build took like 3 streams, so it spanned over multiple hours. I've sped it all up here and I'm gonna chat through what I did. I went into it not really having a plan, you know, pick the world, and we sort of ended up making like started going into it just thinking like cottage, like using Enchanted by nature and cottage living type stuff. Didn't really have a plan. Ended up sort of developing a story for a person who lived here, who I then later built. Built a human? It's like Frankenstein, isn't it? So I played around with a few different things because I didn't really have a plan going into this, but we ended up making like a wooden, very DIY self-built shack. It's not really a shack, is it? It's like treehouse, wooden, cabiny, cottagey thing. Most of the stuff in it is like Enchanted by nature, and we ended up kind of making it for like a gardener fairy. I really should start making the floor plans before I build it, because this was an absolute arse to like fit everything in, which it kind of works for cottages, just to like make a weird shape on the outside and then make everything fit on the inside, and in the end it does kind of go together. But like you can see the kitchen here, I tried to do a weird like wiggly thing around the walls and just nothing fitted anywhere. I also really don't like these like black cabinets that I put in first, so I ended up changing them to like a brown. It is very brown everywhere and it's got the pops of like green stuff. I absolutely love those tiles that I put in. I feel like this is the point where I kind of thought like, okay, I have a bit of a vision. Up until this point I didn't know what style was going on here, what the kind of story was, but then I think these cabinets and those tiles, as soon as I had that in, I had my vision. I also played around with the idea of having like a baby room or like toddler room or something in there, as well as the main bedroom, but I just couldn't make it fit. Same with this bathroom. I've cut most of this bathroom stuff out because I played around for bloody ages trying to fit everything in here. I really didn't want to extend the tiles of the lot because it was like a tier 2 tiny home, and even though these are like constraints I've placed on myself willingly, I didn't want to go outside them. I feel like when making things like cottages, I work better giving myself like a limit to work within. I didn't want to work within like a monetary budget, but I wanted to limit myself to like make it a tiny home. And it would have made more sense if I made it like a tier 1, because then like the plants would have grown faster, and that makes sense for like the story, having like the lot perks. But yeah, I really didn't want to make it any bigger, even though I don't intend on playing with it, honestly. I just like building it. So it was a real pain doing stuff, especially like the bathroom, because I wanted it to have these like the witchy vibes of it, but to make a tiny home and get everything to fit in, you really, I mean, from my limited packs, you've got to use some of the tiny living stuff, otherwise it's just like impossible. But they don't really fit with the aesthetic. You can see here in the bedroom, like I wanted to do a little cupboard, a little like not walk-in, just like a built-in cupboard thing, and I wanted like stuff at the end of the bed, but nothing really fit. It was annoying. There was lots of trial and error, but what I ended up going with I preferred way better. So like baskets of blankets and cushions and stuff at the end of the bed, which I like way better than, you know, the little like kind of like console tables that I was trying to get to fit at the end of the bed, but then I just had an absolute arse, excuse me, trying to raise up all of the items. And also fire hazard, having like candles on a thing at the end of the bed, a little bit iffy. So this next room, again, had no intention of doing this, it just kind of happened. It to be like a little almost greenhouse conservatory type thing. I extended it into the living room a bit so I could fit some more stuff in there, and it ended up being like my favourite part of the house, of the interior at least. It's full of just like the apothecary bookshelves, and then there's just loads and loads of little tables and plants just stuffed everywhere. I put the like diaries in, changed all the colours so it looks like there was just books everywhere. I imagine it to be like keeping track of the plants growing and when they're planted and stuff like that. In my mind, she sells her plants. She like makes them in the garden. I was going to say bake there. She makes them in the garden and then sells them at like a little stall at the front of the house. But that little room there is kind of just her own. That's like her plants that she keeps for herself. She just sits in there, she reads, and those are all the stuff that are just like, that's hers. She's not selling any of those stuff. In the kitchen, I put this kind of wall of what I envision to be like herbs. It's like teas and just random plants, and there's the orange tree in there as well. I picture her going in there and just like, oh my god, it's gone very dark in here. I picture her going in and she picks stuff off there as she's cooking. So the garden. I had no idea what to do with this. I didn't know where to start, didn't know what I wanted there, because I had no plan going into this build. So as I've been going through, I sort of found a bunch of things that fit the vibes, and I'd just been placing it outside. So when I got to the garden, it was just like a tip. It was just, there was shit everywhere, and I started making this area of like, this is her girl boss zone. This is where she, you know, grows all of the plants that she sells. So it's like her I was gonna say money garden. What's it called? Like an allotment type thing. This is where she's doing her job, I guess. I then sort of lined the area and blocked it out with these like debug shrubs, which I couldn't find for like the entire rest of the streams. It was fine, I ended up blending them in. I also accidentally made the pond look like a cock, so I had to fix that quite quickly. It just happened. Just sometimes these things happen. Now I'm kind of annoyed about this because I mean, I have no intention of playing with it. Like, I'm not a gameplay kind of person, but I would be if you could like sell stuff on the apothecary stall yourself, because it doesn't work like the sale tables that come with like businesses and hobbies and all the other ones. You know the ones. But you can't sell stuff from here yourself. You have to hire a vendor to do it. So this doesn't really work for the story. It's a lot of just imagine this is how it works. And I filled like the, is it called a pergola? I don't know. But I filled it with loads and loads of potted plants, loads of hanging plants. There's just plants and clutter and shit everywhere, and I think it's so cool. Just this little like pop-up market style like shop, but obviously gameplay wise you can't sell from it. And there is like a grocery and gnome store stuff that come with Enchanted by Nature as well. I don't know if those are like you have to hire vendors for them or if your sim can do them, because one of them is to do with selling plants and seeds, and I thought that like goes with the lore better, but it doesn't look anywhere near as cute as this one, because this one obviously matches in with the Enchanted by Nature, like the purpley vines and stuff that I've got all inside the house. So I wanted to use this one even though it didn't really match, and gameplay wise doesn't really fit. Then we go on to general landscaping stuff. I just did my usual trick of making everything overgrown as fuck. I put wild grass and lavender and stuff everywhere all around the house, because even though she is a gardener, she's got a lot to be doing. Girlie's got a long to-do list, so I just made it kind of overgrown and magical, chucked a bunch of the flower lights around everywhere, and it does look really cute. It does look cute. This was the point where I was like, everything's gonna be okay. I'm fine, it's all good. So she has her own little like veg plot at the front. There's some like pumpkins and stuff in there. And at this point I was just like, I was a bit like, I was gonna say bush happy there. I was a bit bush happy. Is that wise? To be, is one being bush happy a positive thing? Don't know. I had an absolute nightmare with the terrain paint, but I think it's just because I was picky, and you know when you like draw something yourself and then you look at it and it's like, this looks a bit weird, but if someone else drew it I'd be like, no, that looks really good. I was staring at it for so long. I couldn't make any of the paths look right. I couldn't make like I tried it with cobblestone, I tried making a little driveway, I tried doing it mud, I tried every combination of the slider, making it like feathered, making it square, everything. Nothing worked. I hated it until I put like the low-lying yellow leaf blokes. I don't even know what they're called. Me, Lil Simsy, low-lying yellow leaves for landscaping. They bring everything together. They make everything work. They make everything better. Again, had no plan for this back bit here. Maybe it could be like, there could be a wishing well, there could be trees, there could be I ended up settling on just kind of like a little seating area with like a little barbecue. There's some fish as well. I don't really know where I was going with that. There's also a net hung on the side of the house. I thought it looked cool, but then I don't know what that means really. I was going to put swings in it as well, but I thought it doesn't really fit because there's no like children here. I mean, not to say that adults can't go on swings. I'm sure this lady would have an absolutely lovely time on the swings. But I'm going to hop into the game now and show you a tour, final tour of the build. Here we are. I mean, I finished. Are you fucking kidding? Bro, what? Why is it changed? Hang on, it's fucked up my terrain paint. Brother! Oh, nah! So there was all of this mud terrain paint around here that was like paths going around. This has changed the paint to cottage living stone. Okay, I have chucked some terrain paint back on it, but I'm grumpy because I feel like it's not as good this time. It took me so long to get it right yesterday, and now fuming. Okay, anyway, here is the little cottagey thing from the front. As you can see, we've got a vendor in here singing along. Lovely. And I just absolutely filled all of this. On the back of the wall, it's got all of these things, and I just picture this to be like, you come along and you pretend she's not there, and then the person who lives here is like selling all her shit in here. It's full of witchy, magical, fairy clutter and decor. Oh, the little herb wall. Oh, I want this in real life. This also is probably like one of my favourite features of the house. What are they called? Spandrels? Wooden blokes. It took me ages to decide on the layout of the bathroom because I wanted it to fit in a small space to keep it at a tiny home. And I ended up having to have the back of the shower here, which I don't like for realism. I mean, surely the water's like hooked up here and that would need to be against a wall. But it's The Sims, it's not real. I can get past it. Here's a lovely little conservatory with all of these magical books, all of these gardening books. Here are her diaries in my mind. So she's tracking like, today I planted a pea pod. 2 weeks later, I ate a pea pod. You know, like important gardening stuff, I'm sure. The bedroom looks cozy as fuck. Jedward's claimed bed at the minute, but outside of course you've got the little selling area, and then there's like a few different paths you can take. There's this one which goes behind the house, and this is like the nice little seating area. There's a little rabbit home. Back down the path you've got like a little bridge that goes over the pond. It doesn't need a bridge because you can walk around it. There's not really a lot going on here. She's got the like flower arranging table and all of her bits and bobs. A little stool to sit down when she gets knackered. So I'm gonna put this on the gallery for a magical green thumbed sim. Maybe someone like Jedward? Question mark, question mark. I am going to be streaming a bunch more builds before I upload them on here as speed builds. So come hang out, have some fun, give me ideas what to build. Adios from me and Jedward. Goodbye.